Good morning, everyone, and a very short assembly this week, as obviously everyone's been extremely hardworking and has been focused on their exams. So not too much other stuff going on than the sound of brains whirring over as they complete assessments. But we do have a video from 7L, as it's their assembly this week, where the focus is the environment, because it is World Environment Day as we speak. So I'll be giving us a little bit of information about what the environment is and how we can obviously help do our bit in order to try and preserve it. We then have some work for the week where we've got some images, shall we say, of which has been produced by some students relating to history, okay, in particular stamp collecting. And we also have some work which has been completed in ICT. So we'll be showing that too. We'll then see where we're at with regards to the house competitions. The house competition has been the best piece of revision that you're proud of, so we'll see if there's any additions to what we've seen already and what impact that will have on the point scores. Will Montaigne be able to catch up Transylvania? I'm not sure at this point. All we can say is it's a two-horse race, a bit like the Premier League with Liverpool and Manchester City. We will then have a look at praise point certificates. We've got a few more to hand out before we celebrate birthdays. Now, next week will be the final end of year assembly on Friday the 18th, and it's going to be related to the Careers Week, which we will be looking at and working on, and it is going to be a fantastic event. Miss Blessy, Miss Deanna, Miss Baker have been putting in an awful lot of effort in order to try and make it as useful and worthwhile as possible. And for the older students, we'll have some talks from various different universities around the UK and around Europe, and even in the US as well as parents coming in and talking to us by means of video chat, and also videos which are on the Careers Classroom on Google Classroom too. So please make sure that you have a look at the resources which are there, and also give us some feedback with regards to the talks that you would like to attend. Now, I've been doing a fair bit of talking now, so I'm going to hand over to 7L for their assembly on the environment. So over to you guys.
The Oxford Language Dictionary defines an environment as the sum of the total elements, factors, and conditions in the surrounding which may have an impact on the development, action, or survival of an organism or group of organisms.
Climate Change by Lucian, Mate, Sherban, and Felix. What is climate change? To start off with, climate change is a change in the weather, which is a long-term change. Some of the changes are increase of temperature and an increase of CO2 in the atmosphere. What causes climate change? To start off with, climate change is caused by many human activities. Here are some. Increase of fossil fuels, which cause CO2 levels to rise. By cutting down our trees or deforestation, the trees will release all the CO2 absorbed by the trees, and that CO2 will be back in the atmosphere. By pollution, which this can cause health problems and damages the air quality, water, and the land. Fertilizers, which can kill animals and pollute the water. Droughts, which can cause wildfires and also lead to the extinction of species, and wildfires, which can cause the levels of CO2 in the atmosphere to rise drastically. What are the effects of climate change? The effects of climate change are rising temperatures as there is more CO2 trapped into our atmosphere, rising sea levels, which happens because glaciers melt and they turn into water, storms, floods, more unpredictable weather, more droughts due to higher temperatures, and more wildfires due to droughts and also heat. Fossil fuels. What are they? Well, Fossil fuels are a non-renewable energy source that is running out fast, and studies say that by the year 2060 we will not have any fossil fuels. They formed 4 billion years ago, but this process lasted 1.5 billion years. They generate a huge amount of electricity in one place. They are very cost efficient, and sadly they help form acid rain, which damages buildings and harms marine life. Deforestation. Deforestation is the act of cutting down trees. This could be done legally or illegally. This is done in massive amounts, and this has to stop. Why? The reason being that our planet is being affected, and when the trees are cut down, the level of CO2 absorbed by the trees goes back into the atmosphere. Sadly, the demand for cutting down trees is higher as the population rises. Pollution. Firstly, there are more types of pollution. To be precise, 7. Pollution has negative effects upon the environment, such as the air quality, land, and the water being affected by pollution. It could give us respiratory diseases, and buildings could be damaged by acid rain, which is caused by air pollution. Droughts. Droughts happen when it hasn't been raining enough. This has negative effects on our planet, as habitats and species could be lost and endangered species could become extinct. This also results in water and food being scarce for animals, which causes them to migrate. Fertilizers, and what are they? Well, due to the fact that we are using plenty of fertilizers, we are killing microorganisms. The soil will become more acidic, which means that few crops can grow. Another reason is that fertilizers cause water pollution, so we better stop or else we won't have clean water. And finally, the soil, the turf, and the vegetation is contaminated. Wildfires. Wildfires could result in bad air quality due to the amount of pollution. Sadly, CO2 levels rise, can cause soil damage, and erosion could occur if organic matter is removed. What can we do in order to avoid this? Firstly, avoid the use of single plastics. When going shopping, try use cloth bags instead of plastic ones. Thirdly, be careful in which bin you throw the plastics. Fourthly, recycle. Number 5, when hanging your clothes, use wooden picks instead of plastic ones. Sixth thing, avoid going with a car. Try use an alternative such as public transport or use a bike. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Endangered species. Axolots. Axolots are native species that, according to recent surveys, are not found in the wild. They can be found only in zoos or as pets. They are kept in colonies so that they can reproduce and maybe be released in the wild. Thanks to being so few in the wild, every axolot becomes less and less wild, which will affect them and they will adjust to their habitat harder. The axolots were found in wetlands and it is related to the tiger salamanders. Chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are found in forested West, Central, and East Africa. Endangered. Their true haunts are the last big tracts of moist forests in Western Central Africa, home to perhaps 300,000 chimpanzees. Sadly, chimpanzees suffer attrition as their forests are cut from beneath them. Many are picked off for bushmeat on the fringes of logging camps. The orphaned infants taken as pets rendered incapable of returning to the wild. Forest loss is intensifying. under palm oil production and mining. They are like us in many ways. A diet that includes meat, greenery, honey, eggs, close families, raising kids into their teens. The shoebill. The shoebill is a 4 feet tall bird. The shoebill has a diet that is made out of fish and frogs, mostly swamp animals. The shoebill have unique characteristics, but is related to the stork and the pelican. Its population is scattered across 7 African countries. The shoebill go extinct because we cut swamps and mine them. They will not have a place to live. So let's stop this and try to get our materials from places where you don't kill animals, just for your jewelry and furniture.
African wild dog. The African wild dog is a dog who first originated in sub-Saharan Africa. It is the largest canine in Africa, canine. They're usually very weak and thin due to their specific hypercarbonous diet. These dogs usually gather in packs of 10, sometimes even 40.
Protect wildlife habitat. So, the first thing you could do to protect the wildlife habitat is avoid harmful pesticides and herbicides that damage native plants and wildlife. The second thing is donate to wildlife organizations. Third thing, reduce your consumption and pollution. Fourth, speak up. Fifth, recycle. Sixth, adopt. Thank you. Bye.
Pollution by Andre, Thomas, Roman, and Alex. There are more types of pollution. In total, there are 5. These all do very different things. What is pollution? Pollution is basically the introduction of harmful gases and objects into the environment. These harmful objects can be called pollutants. These can be natural, like volcanic gases, or they can be created by humans, such as trash. Pollutants damage the air, water, and land. How pollution affected society. As shown in the image, pollution is a very harmful thing for mostly everything. Pollution can poison soil and waterways or even kill plants and animals. Humans can be harmed by pollution on long-term exposure to air pollution. On long-term exposure to air pollution can even cause lung cancer. Some ways to pollute the planet. Eat beef. Travel using fuel. Use coal a lot, and also don't care about where you throw your trash. How to prevent pollution. To prevent pollution, you have to do many things, like take less trips with your car or reduce fireplace and no wood stove. Using no plastic bags and turning off the lights when you don't use them.
Thank you very much, 7L, for your work there and your assembly all about the environment. Now, talking of student work, we've got a little bit more here. So first of all, we've got Andrada's stamp collection here, but what is fascinating about it is the different types of stamps from different locations around the world, but also the historical story which is told within them. And if you look very, very carefully, you can see quite a few, for example, from the former Soviet Union. But we've also got some stamps from Africa, we've got stamps from other communist countries, as well as some from Mexico, around the time, actually, of the World Cup in 1986 too. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, Andrada. We also have a video which has been put together by 7V in ICT, which Mr. Pantella has shared with me, which is all about semaphore and Morse code. So the challenge here, guys, is to see if you can spot what the message is. So thank you very much for that insight into semaphore and Morse code from 7V there. So house competitions, there was a house competition that was running on revision for the second week, but I'm going to focus on the Key Stage 3 table tennis, which wasn't a house competition, but I've been asked to share the results. So in year 7 we can clearly see that Mate in first place, must be Mate I in 7L, and then Thomas is also in 7L in second place, and then Shaban also in 7L in third place. So this appears to be a completely 7L dominated competition. So to be honest, I think we can safely say that they're the best in 7L, but not necessarily the best in 7V as well. We then had a year 8 competition where there's only 2 competitors here. So we have George versus Andre. And the battle of 8D against 8E ends up with George coming out in first there. In year 9, again, only 2 competitors. First male versus female game by the looks of it here, and Alex comes out on top. So well done to you, Alex. And after that, we had a bit of a Key Stage 3 tournament, although year 9 weren't involved, and nor was 7V again either. But the winner here was Mate, followed by George, and then followed by Andre. Okay, so well done to you boys, but of course we turned this into a bit of a house competition as well. And the Brodger were the winners overall with 55 points, but I've given them an extra 500 because I think they need it. So they are on 555 points, with Montaigne on 30 and Transylvania on 40. So well done to everyone who participated, and maybe next year we can have a much bigger, wider tournament involving all students. So let's have a look and see what effect this has had on the house points. So we can clearly see that 500 has helped the Brodger, but they've still not breached the 9,000 points mark, and it looks like Transylvania are going to run away with it again, with a 600 or 550 point difference really between them and Montaigne. But we are going to have some house games on Thursday next week, as part of Careers Week, so things could still change, and of course we'll make the final announcement as to who has won the house trophy for this year in our final assembly, which will take place a week today. In terms of praise points, I've got 3 praise point certificates to hand out this week. So well done to Mai in 8E for getting her 50 point certificate. Also for Sophia in 8E for reaching her 50 point certificate. And then finally we have Tudor, again 7L, 50 points, so well done to you guys. Birthdays, I've got birthdays for the last week or the last few days, and for the next few days coming up over the weekend. So, birthday to Nina in 9-0, whose birthday was on the 8th of June. Happy birthday to Alex V, whose birthday is today, so happy birthday to you, Alex. We have Mara, whose birthday is tomorrow on Saturday, so happy birthday to you, Mara. And last but not least, Casper, whose birthday is on the 13th of June on Sunday, so happy birthday to you. Lucky for those of you who are in year 10, you've managed to have your birthdays after your end of year exams. So, have a great weekend, everyone. I will see you all on Monday. Monday is the start of our Careers Week. Lots of fun activities which will be taking place, and there will also be the letter going out very soon telling you what will happen during Activities Week. But next week, which is our Careers Week, we expect you, if you're in year 7, 8 and 9, to bring your books in. Year 10, you get to keep yours as you're carrying on next year into year 11. So have a lovely weekend. Hopefully the weather will hold out, and I will see you all on Monday.